Sunday nights are for Scorecard on Channel 1 TV. And like I've been saying all the time, depending on what side of the divide you belong, it's either been a good weekend or not such a good weekend. Liverpool Football Club did not think that they would go into this weekend crashing out of the FA Cup. Chelsea as well have become a casualty of the FA Cup. They call it the oldest cup competition in the world for a reason. So we'll be getting into the FA Cup. There have been some fallout, some talking points out there. We'll touch on some La Liga, some Bundesliga, and some Italian Serie A as well. My good friends are in the studio. Let's get right into it. You out there, from wherever you are watching us, from wherever you are watching from around the country, from around the continent, the text and WhatsApp lines are on your screen. So you can text into the show. I'll be too happy to read out your comments. Coach Christopher Nimley is here. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ben.
Susu Graham is here. Champ, what's good?
I'm good.
Nice. Let's get right into it. Time is a little spent, and let's start off with that game between Manchester United and Leicester City in the FA Cup. Obviously, Ghanaian interest involved. Jordan Ayew was in action. Van Nistelrooy himself coming up against his former club. So a lot to talk about in terms of storylines. Let's get into the highlights. So Harry Maguire sending Manchester United to the next round in controversial fashion, actually. If you look at the replay of that again, seems to have been slightly offside, but no VAR at this point in the competition. Man United will not mind. Coach, let's go through the breakdown of this one.
So just before we start, I think that assistant referee will have to be suspended for 3 match days. Look, when we get there, I will show you why I'm saying so. So this is the game. This is actually the first goal of Leicester City. If you roll the or assistants now, look at the shape of Manchester United. Absolutely brilliant. There's Maguire, there's Dalot, and I think there is another Man United player there, in addition to the young man there. So absolutely brilliant in terms of defensive organization. But this is going to highlight the lack of recovery on the part of Kobbie Mainoo.
Okay.
We've always highlighted that as he grows up, he's going to be something of a Clarence Seedorf. Anybody who knew Seedorf in his young footballing days, he was playing like Mainoo. But after some time, coaches who had worked with him realized that he's not good on the recovery. So they designed a proper number 10 role for him where he's always either one behind the main striker or two of the guys behind the main striker. Kobbie eventually will grow up to become that player. So when you roll this again, so there was a, let it go. So this is Ugarte. This is Ugarte. He's been pressurized. But look at the Man United players. None of them are showing up for the ball. At least this player here, this Man United player here, should be telling Ugarte something, some message from him. Just backpedal, and then he clears the ball, and the whole team move forward like that. But he didn't do that. So Ugarte tactically or technically had to rely on his technical ability to see whether he can get one past the Leicester player. That was unsuccessful. So there you go. He tried to pass the ball through his legs. He didn't, and then Man United got dispossessed. Now look at here. This is, you see, I've always tend to highlight Harry Maguire. He's the leader in this team. He should be the one always at all times per his set, because he was the one in between the back three. So this should be him. But rather, that is not him. This is him. Look at what he's doing. He's so much concerned here. There you go. He's so much concerned about that Leicester City player. He feels that one, he has that player in check. He's done with his job. But that is not football. Football is about you being the leader, you anticipating better as a defender, and then reading the situation and doing proper communication. He's just taking one responsibility. Let me hold that player, and everybody else is supposed to be doing something like I'm doing. No, it doesn't work like that. If you are the most experienced defender in the team, so the shape of Man United completely in tatters. This is Kobbie Mainoo. This is Kobbie Mainoo. But you see, when the thing rolls, I will highlight something again on the replay. This is perfect save by Onana. But again, unfortunately, the Leicester City player was there. Now, this is the Kobbie Mainoo thing I was talking about. Watch it.
I want you to pause it here. Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
Why wouldn't you give Leicester City credit
coming there.
For the press?
The press was absolutely brilliant. Because if you look at them, Ugarte, he was completely eclipsed in between 3 Leicester City players. So tactically,
And they even had a backup guy just in case he wanted to pass.
There was no way for Gatti to
Yep.
outwit them. So this is where the United players in and around the situation
Yeah.
should be voicing out, should be telling the young man what is going on
That
around
you are surrounded.
You are surrounded.
So take the simpler option.
Take the simpler.
Go to the throw. I was just thinking the
Go
same
to
thing.
throw
Yep.
and let the team up. But they felt that they had men. Now, if you have men, you have to communicate. Now, watch. This is Ndidi. This is Ndidi. This is Ndidi. This is Kobe Meno.
Yep.
This is Kobe Meno. Have I highlighted him? This is Kobe Meno.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, you clearly see that Meno sees the situation, but look at how he recovers. So the boy is disposed. Look at him. He's walking. He's walking. You see, then he ran and then he slows down.
Yeah, because he obviously should be picking up
He should be picking up
the goal scorer.
Wilfred Ndidi all day. This is another perfect situation. Look at him.
Very
He's
casual.
very casual on the recovery. And this is something about him that he really needs to improve upon. So that was the first goal. And then we go to Joshua Zirkzee. Now, take it or leave it. It is all about Alejandro Garnacho. Garnacho came into this game and he completely brought something completely different from every United player. In that first side, if you watch the game, Ahmad, Dogo, they were not running in behind the Leicester City backline. They were rather showing up for the ball. And once you show up for the ball, everything is being done in front of the defensive wall. So you can easily be marked. But what Garnacho actually did was to ensure that he will always run in behind. Look at this. He picks up the ball, pause it here. Has he got a chance? He's got no chance here. You need to be technically gifted.
Yep.
You need to believe in your technical ability and your speed. And the fact that the young man is ambidextrous, meaning he can use both feet, that would not limit his option. It's not only about coming onto the right foot, but he can dummy and go onto the left foot, which was exactly what he did. I think the Leicester City defender did the best he could have done because he showed Garnacho.
Cordova Reed. He's a forward.
He's a forward.
He's not even a
but
defender.
He's not even a but I think in terms of forcing Garnacho to the byline onto his weaker foot, I would have encouraged any of my fullbacks or any of my players to do, and that was exactly what he did. So, but Garnacho, knowing that he could, look, he paused and then he take it onto that left foot. And then an easy tap in forward, Zirkzee. Look, it would have been an ISO if he had blasted up over the bar. It would have been an ISO. So again, you want to credit Alejandro Garnacho. Look at it again. He picks up the ball, he pauses, he checks, and then he goes for it. Good movement on the part of Rashmond Holline.
Coaches always tell you to drive the ball hard and anything
across,
can happen.
And that is it. Now, this is why I think that linesman or that assistant referee, like they are now called of late, should be given a 3 or a 4 match ban. Let's play this. I would like it to roll on the first side. Let it roll. Let it roll. At this point, everybody thought it was a perfect goal because we had not seen the angle. Now, once the angle, let's pause it here. Now, everybody watch. This is the linesman. This is him. That's the linesman there.
Can see
Jesus
everything properly.
Christ.
He's in the best position
He's in
to see.
line to see the Leicester City line. As to how he did not see that. On the clock, I think it was the last minute.
It was like 90 plus 3.
90 plus 3.
Or something like
and that was the last kick of the game virtually. I told myself, maybe he wants to go home.
You know, that's
He did everything to stop the extra
That's
time.
what everyone was saying. That the match, he was so bored with the match.
He wanted to go home early.
to end.
But look, they are not supposed to do that. You've been mandated to apply the rules to the fullest. As to how he didn't see this, only God knows, and perhaps he himself knows as to how he didn't see that.
Yep.
He's in
Before the ball
line.
is taken, there are about 4 United
Four
players
United
offside.
players offside, and they all stayed there.
I want to disagree slightly because this is a common tactic a lot of the teams
use.
that they
They
start offside
and then
kind
they
of move
kind of
back,
merge.
That has got nothing to do with the linesman. What is his starting position? He's gotten it perfectly right. Did that change? He's not to watch the Man United players. He's to keep his eye on the Leicester City line. So any red shirt beyond that line, is not, and this is not 1, not 2, not but about 4 of them. So even when you roll this on, they stay there, even here.
Yeah, it paused it.
If you pause it here,
Somebody's even moved further out
Some
the
have
line.
moved, and then this is the goal scorer. This is Harry Maguire. This is Maguire right there. This is Maguire right there. He's still offside. He's still so clearly offside. And this is the linesman. He's still there. Look at him.
He can rightly
see. What was he thinking about? At this level, it's unacceptable. I mean, I'm a United fan. Was I happy United won? Yes, of course I was happy because I spoke to a United fan and he said if Bayende had not saved that dubious penalty given to Arsenal, you remember that penalty that Arsenal missed in that leg at the Emirates? That wasn't a penalty. If VAR was allowed to operate, that penalty would have been disallowed. But Bayende did his job and rescued the situation. So the one I spoke to was saying that then the Leicester City goalkeeper should have rescued it. He said, no, football is not done like that. So, look, completely unacceptable. And at this level, the referee was a complete mess. I think that assistant referee should be given a 3-match ban. If he was not in line with the play.
At no point did he attempt to even raise his flag.
That was shocking to me. And look at him. When the ball entered, and then you see him running to the center line as if everything what I wanted has happened.
Once he raises his flag, they'll disallow the goal.
Because there's no VAR. Once he does that,
I think this is what it comes to. Mistakes will be made. I think coach is being a bit harsh. I agree with coach. It's a bad mistake.
No,
referees make mistakes all the time.
But this is, you see, that's why I highlighted his positioning before the free kick was taken. Why was he standing there? Because he knew that was the best position for him. So he could see, and I drew the line. He could clearly see.
It's almost like you're staring at something, but you don't know what you're staring at.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with coach. It's a bad mistake, but I'm saying that referees make mistakes all the time. If we suspended referees every time they made a mistake,
some mistakes
are more elementary. This is a basic mistake.
I don't even think they suspended the people who did. Remember the Liverpool goal where they went to do their whatever.
The VAR people.
Yeah, I don't even think those people were suspended.
That one, VAR was there, so we couldn't blame them.
That one was miscommunication.
Later, we were told that it was miscommunication. The referee was told to disallow, and he had the goal should go.
They asked him whether they told him he misunderstood what they told him.
Yeah, he just misinterpreted what he was
saying.
Exactly. So look. Man United are in the second round or in the fifth round.
Fifth round. This was the fourth round. So
the sixth round is the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and the draw is
the sixth round is the quarterfinals. So the fifth round is last 16, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so this 16. The draw I'm told will be tomorrow. But at the end of the day, what a way to knock out your former team, Harry Maguire. It was a bullet of a head. That is what he's good at, isn't it? He's got a very big head. We all know that for a fact. So when he's given a chance to use the size of his head, he does that with some bit of expertise. He's got a big head.
Harry Maguire seeing Manchester United to the next round of the FA Cup. Let's get to another highlight. One of the big upsets of the weekend. Plymouth Argyle all the way down there in the lower tiers of the English League, knocking out Liverpool Football Club. Let's get the highlights. Just look at what it means to them to knock out Liverpool from the FA Cup. Plymouth Argyle on to the fifth round of the Cup. Liverpool fielding a much-changed side, if I should use the word advisedly, paying for it as well.
Yeah, I think when I looked at the lineup personally and I saw that Salah wasn't even on the bench, in my head, it felt like Arne Slot didn't take Plymouth seriously. And with good reason. This is the team bottom of the championship. They are really struggling for results. So you would expect that...
Isn't that where Wayne Rooney was a while ago?
Yes, exactly. So you would expect that Diaz, Jota and Chiesa should be able to handle Plymouth Argyle. But it didn't work out that way. But for me, I think he underestimated them. He didn't take it too seriously. I think he's also thinking about, look, it's a long season. We have a Carabao Cup final. Yeah. The league is still there. The Champions League is there. If we win 2 out of 3, it's a very good season. If we win 3 out of 3, it's a very good season. So whatever may happen in the FA Cup, we can live with it. I think that there's also that logic there that, look, we are doing very well in other competitions. The extra games won't benefit us in the long run. So maybe that's the issue. And Arne Slot he's well known for knowing how to rotate his team and rest his players. At Feyenoord, his teams didn't get muscle injuries a lot. So he has that track record. But for me, I think the lineup showed a lack of respect or interest. I don't know the right word to use. Some people say he disrespected him. But I think it's just a lack of interest in the cup because you see big teams sometimes, even their resting players, you have your Salah on the bench, you have your this person. But the fact that Salah didn't even make the match day squad, and look at the match day squad, a lot of players who are not first team players, a lot of under 21, under 18 type players in the match day squad. That shows someone who's not particularly interested in this competition to me. So I think for him, he'll be disappointed they couldn't win.
Yeah.
But I think on a scale of 1 to 10, he's probably more angry about losing. But in the grand scheme of the cup, I don't think it will pain him too much the way. But we'll see what he says in his post-match press conference. I haven't seen that yet. I believe the game was today, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that. I'll probably watch it tomorrow, you know, on YouTube or something. But yeah, I don't think he cared too much personally. But it was still a disappointing result for sure.
It was.
I completely disagree with us. The man went into the game with a solid team. This Liverpool team should be beating Plymouth all day. Now, if you look at that goalkeeper, this is a goalkeeper that is more than capable of being Liverpool #1 goalkeeper.
True.
If you look at Konate, Kwanzaa, Enzo, Diaz, Jota, how many times have we not seen Jota in the big games comes on and wrap up the job? At a point in time, Darwin Núñez was introduced, Harvey Elliott. These are first-team players. Truth be told, the message is clear that this Liverpool team is never the same without Mohamed Salah. That is where I tend to agree with Susu. That even if you think Jota and Diaz and Co can handle it,
keep Salah
you have
on the
to
bench.
keep your main weapon on the bench. You don't completely leave him at home and ask him to watch the game in the comfort of his sitting room. You don't do that. And if you're a Liverpool fan, you should be angry. You should be extremely angry because Liverpool being knocked out of
the fourth round,
the best knockout competition in world football, is unacceptable by a team that is languishing at the bottom of the championship. It's unacceptable. And if you look at the all-round performance, until Liverpool went down, they were completely toothless. They did nothing. It took the last 10 minutes for them to realize that, oh wow, what is happening here? We are going out of the competition. And who is the team knocking us out? Plymouth. Then they started throwing in all the Arsenal. So one would have thought that maybe the coach himself, a bit like Kadeska, a bit sluggish on the day, overly confident that whatever or whoever he puts out there will be good enough to handle the job. Well, on any other day, the same Liverpool team will be beating this Plymouth team by 4-5-6-0 without any reply. So the point I'm making is that maybe he's not been properly briefed about the history about the FA Cup, because this is the cup that guarantees the shocking results every now and then. Every year there's a shock that everybody's likely to experience.
And they have fallen victim.
And this year it took the best team in the land. That is why I'm so angry. By far, they've been the best team in the land. They've set the pace. They are the pace setters. They are dominating the Premier League, dominating the Champions League, dominating every competition they've played in. So for them, if you're a Liverpool fan and you saw this draw, you are a Liverpool fan. When you saw the draw, did you ever dream that Plymouth would not Liverpool? No, obviously not. No. And you can imagine those people who lost money today. I had one of my guys who's a very good bettor. He called and said, Coach, I said, I don't do betting. You decided to do betting. Keep quite quick.
I'll be honest. Betting on a cup game is not...
Exactly.
It's way more risky than a game.
But Plymouth against Liverpool.
But you see, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm saying that. That's why I said, like you said, maybe he's not been briefed on the FA Cup. That's why I feel like...
that I would say, but...
And that's why I'm saying, and I feel like there's a lot of players he doesn't trust. Because Endo is someone he doesn't trust. He played today. Javier Lot, we've barely seen him this season. He played. This guy, Kwanzaa, he doesn't trust, was played today.
No, but he's always on the bench of the first team.
Chiesa, I understand what I'm saying. These are players that the coach, compared to some of the other subs, these are the players who play the least. And the fact that they started today is what I'm saying that is making me feel like he didn't take the game seriously.
As much importance to the game.
That I don't want to accept. If you had Gakpo, Salah on the bench. We saw Pep yesterday when he fielded the team he started with. But there was De Bruyne, there was Foden. Those guys were where if the people start misbehaving, then you throw them on.
And coach, that's my point.
Because
you would have put them on the bench.
These lesser teams in such competitions,
they are fired up.
The longer it goes, and you
the more confident they get that they can beat you.
Exactly. And for me, look, he should go back to his house, go get him into his room, look himself in the mirror, and tell himself, admit to it. So, like you said, I'll be waiting to hear the things
Because if they play with a proper squad, they can win it all. You can win the league, you can win the FA Cup, you can win the league
if
cup.
If you listen to the commentator, he said there will be no quadruple for Liverpool. Why did you think he make that statement?
Yeah.
Because there are all indications that if they turn up, they beat everybody.
True.
My whole thing is the bench is why I feel that way. You agree with me, the bench, and the fact that he didn't even think about it. Like you said, Pep put those players on the bench. Because Pep is probably looking at their...
And it was De Bruyne who came through and scored.
And scored the difference that Pep is probably looking at their season thinking, hey, this is probably the only thing we can win.
Exactly.
So you see, there's that importance that even though I need to rest players, because we have Real Madrid on Tuesday, I still have to have those players who can save this. I just feel like once he didn't put them on the bench, it showed a lack of interest. That's how I'm interpreting it.
I
Coach
can understand.
is interpreting it as a mistake. But I think he knew exactly what he was doing. And
it
was
just
willing
backfired.
That's how I feel about it.
Well, let's get more highlights in. Let's get to the game between Everton Football Club and AFC Bournemouth. It was more Antoine Semenyo heroics. Let's enjoy. So Semenyo with a very interesting run-up to that penalty. In the end, he scored, so it doesn't really matter. Good form from the young man coach, helping his team to a 2-0 win.
I think if he continues like this, he leaves Bournemouth
at the end of the season.
Yeah, the summer. Because look, he's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
He's been super brilliant. This is the season he's actually told everybody, informed everybody of how good a player he is. He's a tackler, he's good, he's got decent pace, he's powerful, he's ambidextrous.
Athletic,
Everything about him is super.
He's top 10 for blocks in the Premier League. As a forward, top 10 for blocks.
That's interesting.
And for me, what actually more or less get me to love him the most is his all-round performance.
Yeah.
When the team is on the defensive, like Susu just said,
you see blocks him, is crazy for a forward.
Yeah, it's not block shots mostly. They do blocks for passes and shots.
And on the transition, that is where he's been most deadly. And for me, anytime I get the opportunity, this is the player Otuado criticized as not being good enough.
Yep.
This is the best league in the world.
He's being looked at by Arsenal and Liverpool.
I'm telling you, he criticized this player of just not being good enough. You don't know how to use the player. Tactically, you are bankrupt. You have no clue on how to bring the best out of our best players. Then you turn around and you criticize them for not being good enough. You saw the penalty? I like players who play penalty like that.
You don't like the hop and
No, I don't like those antics. So
I like it too.
No. You see, when you are playing with people's heart, you don't do those antics. You go, you hit it hard.
Yep.
If the keeper makes a save, walk clap for him. If it doesn't, he's in the back of the net and your lead is restored. So look, it was a good performance. They are the team people want to avoid in the next round.
Yeah.
Because the form
they're really fired up.
Look, it just took the best team. You see,
they can win. So
you see why I'm angry at Liverpool. Liverpool is the only team that put a stop to them. You remember last week, I was so confident that Liverpool should have done, and Liverpool went there and beat them. Apart from Liverpool, this Bournemouth team,
they beat Man City, they
beat Man City,
United,
they beat Newcastle, they beat United, they beat us, they beat everybody.
They beat Nottingham Forest.
They beat Nottingham Forest. And it was not by a fluke.
Yeah.
They dominated and beat those teams convincingly. Convincingly. And I think, look, that coach that started his career by losing his first 8 games.
Iraola.
He's actually gotten them to understand what he stands for.
I believe he's manager of the month in the Premier League.
And he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant.
Just thoughts on that game and Everton also crashing out, but thoughts on Bournemouth really and the kind of season they're having.
Well, I mean, for Everton, it was not... Once, if both teams came at full strength, it would have taken more like Bournemouth not being at their best.
But I forgot something. Tarkowski, what was that silly tackle?
Very experienced player.
No, he's very experienced. And how did he... You see, when you are a coach and players...
It's a letdown.
At the end of the day, the angle favored the goalkeeper. Semenyo was not running directly through goal or through the center. He was coming from an angle.
Yeah.
So push him onto his left foot. Pickford rightly positioned himself. And then you deal with the situation. But to just whack him like that.
And just to add to that, the percentages favor the keeper. Because Semenyo, the one weakness about his game is he doesn't put a lot of his shots on target.
Exactly.
Because if you look at it, he has some of the most shots in the league. I think at a point here and Haaland were first and second. I'll have to check again, but he's probably still in the top 10. But you go and look, and his shot accuracy is about 25, 28%. So it means most of his shots are going wide. They are not going on target. So if you have someone like that, he shoots a lot. you might want to just let him take the shots. You get your goal kick and you move on. But I understand that there's the danger. Your adrenaline has come back. Like Coach said, it was a very needless tackle and very unnecessary. But going back to Bournemouth, if they play their first strength team, you expect them to beat any team. You expect them to give any team a match. You expect them to be able to stay in most games.
Yeah.
And that makes them a very dangerous cup team. Because like we said, in their league, they are not catching Liverpool. It's just not happening. But in their cups, that's 1 week. And even considering that, okay, you are still battling for a Champions League and the teams around you are flawed. Newcastle, they have their moments. Chelsea, their defense is bad. Man City, we don't know whether they've managed to fix their midfield because the player they bought to fix their midfield went off early. So is he going to be injured for a long time? What is the state of his health? Will he be able to compete for their team? Which other team is there? Nottingham Forest, are they going to be able to keep up? So you look at the other teams all battling for that top four, and Bournemouth have a very good chance if they stay consistent. So like Coach said, no one wants to play them in their cup. And for Everton, it's probably disappointing. It was a difficult draw. But this is your last season at Goodison Park. You want to make it special.
Rather, I think it's a blessing in disguise. Let them exit and focus and rescue the season and then take it to the new season.
I think where they are in their season, they are fairly safe because they are about 16th now.
But the
and there's about 6 or 7 points between them and 17th.
You know how inconsistent they can be.
Yeah.
They lose 1 or 2 games, they are drawn back into
I
the
agree
pool.
with you, but the problem is that the teams below them, Wolves,
they are not easily good enough.
Who's it?
Ipswich and Southampton,
Southampton, and then what's the
bad.
last one? Oh, I
forgot.
I don't know why I can't remember.
Wolves, Ipswich should be another
Leicester,
championship team.
Wolves, Ipswich, Southampton. Those 4 teams are not better than Everton. They are not going to be more consistent than Everton. So I think Everton are fairly safe. I think those are the 4 teams that 3 of those 4 will go down. it would be a big surprise to me if any other team gets sucked back into that relegation fight. They have to go on a very bad run. And those teams are improving because you see Palace are now picking up. The other teams in that zone around Everton
Spurs are expected to pick up.
Exactly. So United also are a bit above them. They are also probably going to be fine. So I don't see any team in that zone getting sucked back down. It's rather them who are going to be more cut adrift. So I think it's just a disappointment. You know, they weren't going to win the FA Cup, but interesting cup run, maybe sit round, semi-final to kind of give them something to cheer about. It would have been interesting. But I think just 15th in the Premier League for the last season, the first football ground in England. You know, this was the first stadium built purposely to play football in England that they are moving away from. That being its last season for its teams, it's very disappointing. It deserved more for sure.
Yeah. Everton Football Club, disappointing exit from the FA Cup. Let's take our first break on the show here. When we come back, we'll get some more highlights. We have another tactical breakdown for you in one of the other casualties of the weekend. Brighton and Hove Albion knocked out Chelsea Football Club. That's coming up sometime on the show. So stay with us here. We'll be back on Scorecard. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. If you want to go out there and invest in your team, make some good returns, SoccerBet is a good place to do it, and they are proud sponsors of Scorecard. So big shout outs to SoccerBet, new sponsors on the show. You guys are welcome. Let's get
reliable betting.
They are actually. They do some pretty good stuff. So big shout outs to the people at SoccerBet for holding us down. Let's get into more highlights, and let's get into that Brighton and Hove Albion versus Chelsea game. Brighton had come from a battering at the hands of Nottingham Forest, 7-0, I believe that game ended, and so they needed some kind of response in the cup competition. Chelsea obviously were going to present a stiff challenge. Let's see how it broke down. So Mitoma sending Chelsea packing. 2-1, how Brighton and Hove Albion wrapped up this one. Coach, what do you have for us?
That is the player that turned down, how much?
It was like an £85 million move.
To the Gulf.
Yep.
So
Brighton turned it down. I'm not sure about him.
He rejected. They would have accepted it. Now, look, there's nothing so much to talk about, but just about that was a complete howler. Wow. For a goalkeeper who is the number 1 goalkeeper of a footballing nation like Holland, this is unacceptable. But like so to say, there are mistakes. I don't know how to explain this to you. I just don't know how to.
The only thing I'll add is, Coach, the people from the Netherlands don't like when you say Holland because that's a part of their country.
Okay, so
Holland. Netherlands. That's all I'll say.
Thanks. Okay, now let's go to why Chelsea maybe most probably will not win anything this season. They've been knocked out of all the cup competitions.
Conference League, maybe
the Conference League is their best opportunity to win the league. Now, this is the goal. The 2 goals they considered, they could have avoided them. They were all avoidable goals. Now, I'm going to take you through the breakdown of the first goal. You see that the error was committed once, they got lucky, and then they repeated it, and then they paid for it. Let's play this out. So, look at it. This is our own Tariq Lamptey. Let's pause this there. Now, look at this. This is the first cross. If you look at the marking in the middle there of the Chelsea box, this is not marking. He's passive. Because this is also not marking. He's passive. He should actually be looking at the Brighton player in behind there. Look at Kukorea. He's also not marking. So every Chelsea player there is not marking. Rather, they have the Brighton players in between them. And in the game of football, this is too lackluster, unacceptable. But luckily for them, when the first cross came in, Tosin, is that the name?
Tosin Adebayo.
Tosin Adebayo.
Adarabi.
Look at Adarabi. He dealt with the situation beautifully.
I think it was actually Chaloba.
Now, okay, that was Chaloba. Now watch it again. Pause it here. Again, look at him. Look at Chaloba. Who is he marking? He's not marking anybody. Because this is not the player to put the ball in the back of the net. He's not going to score. He's just going to deliver.
And look at
So
the guy
as
at
a
the far
defender,
post even.
yes, there's another. Also here, I don't want to highlight too much because the ball didn't go. But like you rightly said, that is another lackluster way of look at the Malo Gusto. He's just standing there.
Behind him on his blind side, anything could have
If the
happened.
ball had gone to that, he would have been free.
Exactly. Now look at Chaloba. He's keeping his eye on the ball, but something should tell you what is happening on your shoulders. He needed to look. He didn't look, and that is unacceptable. So look at it. Once the cross went past him, that was an easy header. And again, something that needs to look at the gap between the two Chelsea centre back. That is more than 10 yards. And that is unacceptable. If the marking was correct, if the communication from Cowell or Tosin,
I think it's Tosin.
Tosin was a bit correct, he should, you see, this
He should be able to close down the person, the receiver.
You should scream at Chaloba and tell them, look, he's behind you, drop back and pick him up because he is doing his job. And the Brighton striker is on the blind side of Chaloba. Chaloba is just there hoping that the cross will not be right.
So he can
deal with it. Now look at what the cross did. It just went above him. Look at that. Bang into the back of the net.
Yep.
By the time
Now
that
opening his
Tosin
hands.
realized, he said, come on, no. So again, in my view, that is an avoidable goal scoring. So look at it here again, perfectly. They deal with it the first time. It went, all he needed to do was to go back. You see, your movement should take you back, in and around like that. He didn't do that. Free header, perfect goal. Now let's look at this one. This one was so appalling, to be honest with you. The Mitoma one. I will show you something that I don't think, if you don't have a technical eye, you will see. So that is Tariq Lamptey. Bang. Now, this is the Mitoma one. Let it go here. Let it go. On the replay, then I'll tell you what is happening. Everybody, watch the reaction of the Chelsea centre-back. Now, this is Mitoma. He picks up the ball here. If you pause it here, this is a 1v1 situation. I understand why this player had to back off. Because the defensive line cover was not there. Look at the gap. It's too huge a gap. So he needed to delay. Because if he dived into the tackle and he's bypassed, that is too clear a chance for Brighton. So he needed to delay, which he did very well. By delaying Mitoma, he allowed the Chelsea players to come back. Now at this stage, they have a solid defensive shape, and you expect them to deal with the ball. So Mitoma then went to Tariq Lamptey. Tariq control, and then bang. Now everybody watch this. Look at the Chelsea centre-back. Look at them. This guy, and then this guy. I mean, the one here, the one closer to Mitoma. He's walking, though. His leg is dead. If I play this on a slow-mo, watch him. You see, he's walking. You see that?
Yep.
Did you see that?
Yep.
He's walking. He's not proactive. He's not proactive at all. And at this level, if you're not proactive, watch him. Watch him. Watch.
Roll it. Yeah.
If you roll it, watch him. You see, they're walking, the two of them. It's now that they are trying to react. No. Too little, too late. And at the end of the day, you need to be on your toes. Watch them again. He's walking. Look at them. Look at them. Very tired. You saw the way he was walking. What is that? No, did you see that? Watch that. No,
what is that?
No, you just watch that. Watch that. You just watch it. I want to emphasize that. You see the. I said, oh, Charlie. No, you watch that.
It was late now.
I think too many.
You see, you should be on your toes.
You know how I feel?
No.
I think too many things happen too quickly.
For him.
First of all, they were expecting the Tariq shot to go to the goalkeeper. When it rebounded, it got caught in somebody's legs, and then it came like that sequence.
He seems very sluggish.
Exactly.
Look. Very sluggish.
Like he's.
Now watch here. This is where it is very clear. Just watch him here as he walks. What sort of defender?
Coach, can you pause it here? I want to see something.
Pause.
You see, what I'm thinking is that look at the Chelsea centre back. Sorry, you see where Cucurella is?
Yeah.
He too. He's not watching this man behind him.
In fact, his attention is completely somewhere else.
Look at
Tosin.
He too is not watching this guy.
But that was a bad clearance. They had the chance to clear the ball.
But that's what I'm saying. Even the all of them, it's like they're all asleep.
They're very tired. For me, the way the guy was just
to be honest, it wasn't even so
look,
the ball hit him.
Watch him. You saw that? Just watch.
Ball just pinged off him and went back to a Brighton player.
Watch him walking.
Yeah, he didn't even clear them. He kind of just
it was a scuffed clearance.
He just did that. But look,
again, all of them
were all dead. At this stage, they were all dead. So for me, look, Mr. Maresca and the man, is it Todd Bowley? He's shown that he's got cash. If this team really wants to go forward, I think they are lacking in that department. They need a proper number 9.
Yeah.
Nicola Jackson, we are told, is injured. You see how toothless they've become? No, Nkunku. Come on, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's not making a claim for himself at all. I watched and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is he doing?
And a lot of Chelsea fans seemed very upset with his general output. Like, he seemed to be there, but he was not involved.
Complaining that he wanted to leave for more first team opportunities. You won't get them like this.
You won't get this. Now, the one who is taking the position from you is now injured. State a claim. Make a claim for yourself and push the head coach not to drop you.
You have one more less competition and Joao Felix gone.
Joao Felix is gone. So now you are there.
But I want to say something. I said it on the Premier League preview show that I don't think Chelsea will make top 4 if they keep playing like this.
Of course.
There's too many good teams in the Premier League that if
that
you're
will exploit this lackluster defender,
you make mistakes, they'll take advantage. And once your centre backs are not solid, it means you have to outscore point every.
Exactly.
And right now we are seeing Cole Palmer. He's struggling to impose himself the way he used to last season.
Especially in the bigger games.
And I'm not saying that he's a bad player.
No. At the end of the day, coaches have looked at the team. They've looked at how influential he is. So it would be very naive on the part of the opposing coach not to map up a strategy, the trend of the young man. So the others will have to step up.
Look at now it looks like when he doesn't play well.
After 1 or 2 good games, now he's back to normal setting, ordinary performances.
Yeah. And when Palmer doesn't play well, Chelsea have literally zero creativity.
And when you look at all of those things, you think to yourself, Newcastle are there. Newcastle, Gordon is playing well.
Yeah.
Isak is playing well. Yeah. Jacob Murphy, who we all thought that, what is he like?
Big
how
time.
is he going to last?
Their midfielders are all contributing.
Get rid of him. Yep. So he's playing well. Look at Bournemouth, Semenyo, Evan Nelson, Clivert, who we all thought
was finished.
We all thought he's about 20 and he's bounced around clubs. I think he's one of the few players to have scored in Europe top 5 weeks. That shows you how much he's moved around.
Exactly.
He's now playing very well. Like all the other teams around them, you can see that
everybody's
even Nottingham Forest, even if their attacking players don't play well, you know that they don't concede
And
goals.
even Villa have boasted during the January window. They expect to up their level in the final match.
But to be honest, I look at Villa's defense, just talking about the top 4. Their defense is not good. I think their defensive record has them like 14th or 13th in terms of goals conceded. That's a good sign.
Chelsea.
But and Sanchez and Jorgensen. Sanchez was playing for so long and making mistakes, and they weren't bringing Jorgensen. So I'm wondering, what has the coach seen about Jorgensen that made him put up with Sanchez's mistakes for so long?
It's absolutely alarming. Look, it's alarming. Like you rightly said, Sanchez's mistakes, if I'm the boss, he's out.
Yeah. And the manager has defended him at every 10. Very interesting.
That makes me wonder about Jorgensen. And we saw Jorgensen last season at Villarreal. He's a good keeper, good shot stopper. Yeah. So I'm wondering what about him does Maresca not like? Maybe it's even a mistake by Maresca. Maybe it's just stubbornness. But I'm wondering what the issue is. So there's a lot of questions about Chelsea, which is why I'm not sure about them for top 4. They can absolutely do it Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But for me, when I look at the other teams, they just look more reliable.
They can only do that if they improve defensively. If they keep defending like this, they're not making top 4.
Well, looks like the defending like this will continue because they've literally overhauled their defensive or centre-back partnership.
They had to recall.
Yep.
Somebody they didn't
So
want.
this is a new partnership to take them through the second round of the league. So a lot to happen for Chelsea Football Club. Lick your wounds, come back, but you've been knocked out to the FA Cup. Let's get to another highlight, another game that happened. Let's go to that Manchester City game, and then we'll bring you the Spurs and Villa game. But let's drop off with Manchester City and Leyton Orient first. That was threatening to be another awkward, probably say upset, but in the end, Manchester City managed to save their blushes. Let's get the highlights. So Manchester City alive in the cup competitions. They needed Kevin De Bruyne off the bench to keep them in it. Let me take your thoughts on that one. Big win for them. It's not been going too well. I'm sure they will want to win this competition to, make up for the kind of season they've had.
Oh, for sure. And this is probably their most realistic avenue to a trophy because, look, I don't see them getting past Real Madrid. Real Madrid do have their injuries, but when you look at Manchester United, and their biggest issue is that midfield and how pedestrian it looks, how porous it is. You think about players like Bellingham and Valverde, Camavinga, with the energy they have, the thrust they have against that Man City midfield. I don't think it will be pretty. But like I said, you have quality. So when you're playing against a team like Leyton Orient, and this is why we're criticizing Arne Slot, he had Foden on the bench, he had De Bruyne on the bench, he had options on the bench that he felt that, look, if these guys can't deal with Leyton Orient, I have people who can do their job. They are unlucky to go behind, which can happen. Same way Liverpool went behind. But he looked at their team and said, look, I have the options to win myself the game, even though if the guys are not doing it. So you see Foden and De Bruyne come on. And I think it's a very good goal by Kevin De Bruyne. Great ball by Jack Grealish. But again, you are playing against a League One team. As Premier League players, this is the teams that you get the time and space to show you are better than them. Because they can do these things all day, but they don't get the space and time in the Premier League to do them. So you see Jack Grealish, he's not scored in 1 year until the last FA Cup game. That doesn't happen if he's playing in League One because his quality will show. So I think it's very disappointing for Man City when you look at how much better they should have been. The result will be a bit disappointing, but they'll be happy. Look, we've got through this. We didn't have to exert too much energy. We are better rested than Real Madrid because Real Madrid had a derby last night. They had a big game, big City rivals they had to play, so they couldn't take their foot off the gas. So I think they are a bit better health going into the Champions League game. They are a bit more confident, but like I said, Man City are still not convincing. And now Nico Gonzalez goes off early, so you are wondering, is this Man City midfield going to be the player they bought to fix this midfield? Will he help them fix this midfield? You don't know.
Good. Oh, he's injured. So once he's injured, he's come back. Pep has come back to default setting. I don't know the extent of the injury, but I think he's a good player. And you need to play with them for some time before he can begin to stamp his authority. So we are all saying the same thing. I think my biggest tactical highlight from this was the off-the-ball movement for De Bruyne. That wasn't his chance.
That was a striker's movement.
That wasn't a chance. It was the off-the-ball movement that created the chance. And if you are playing with quality players, you should give them options. If you look at Jack Grealish, he had like about 3 players in front of him. Has he got the pace or the technique to go past them? No. So he waited and wanted somebody to give him an option. And with the experience of Kevin De Bruyne, we all saw the movement. Once there was an off-the-ball movement in behind the back line, and the pass was right, you trust the young man quality to take him beyond the finish line. And that was a beautiful, beautiful finish. And if
it's funny because it looked kind of like Mitome's goal in terms of the finish.
Same time.
If you're a young player and you're watching this type of ball, it's not all the time you want to show up for it. Most often than not, the ones that create the chances are the running, the off-the-ball running in behind the back line. And if the pass is right, you put it away.
So Manchester City, difficult game, but managing to brave the storm. They're through to the next round. Let's get to another highlight, and this time it was a game between Aston Villa and Tottenham Hotspur. Let's get the highlights. Let me take a few messages before I take analysis for this one. This one here is from all the way in Lusaka, Zambia. He says, Man United can only qualify to the Champions League if they win the Europa League trophy. Amorim has a huge task ahead of him in the summer for a massive clear out of players. Example, Casemiro, Eriksen, Dalot, Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, to create a new team capable of winning trophies. Dylan Manchester, from Lusaka, Zambia. That's your name. Dylan Manchester. So you're a Manchester United fan, so Manchester to your name. I get it. This one says, Anna is really cooking, but he lost. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Fred from Sunyane says, I don't see Amorim succeeding. How can you play Dogu on the right side? Meanwhile, the guy is a left back making his debut, and you are playing with different roles. He doesn't know. I have started losing confidence in the manager. I'll get. Let me just read it.
Let me just respond to that message. I think it's not necessarily true he's a left back. He's played
he's
about
not
half
a left back.
Half his games are left back.
He's a wing back.
He's a wing back who can play on both sides.
But even he played half his games this season at left back. Let me not even say half. Let me say like 33% at left back. He's played like 40% on the right wing as a winger.
Yes.
So if he plays as a right wing back, it's like he's mixing the two.
Listen, he's just multifunctional.
Yeah,
he can play there.
I think people don't. People don't know the player that well, so they assume he's played more on the right this season than the left.
On the left,
so.
yes.
And the coach is well within his right to play him that way. And this one says that congrats to Barca and Man City for spicing up my weekend, which was prepared by coach and the Scorecard crew. This one says, from Sir Aristo of Sefibakwa. Greetings to the aristocrat family, okay? Sally Al-Hassan from Brekum says, I agree with Susu. Slot didn't take this match seriously. This used to be Jurgen Klopp's problem. This one says, good evening, guys. These England referees are becoming something else. Just look at how they robbed Leicester and Chelsea. It's disgusting watching and this kind of officiating. My Chelsea coach is beginning to lose his principles. Chelsea now play like there's nothing at stake, no purpose and direction. Enzo should be warned. This one's from
I don't know.
I'm not even sure.
I don't
Asari
know
Samson from Zuarungo with that one. Yeah. So he says that his team was robbed. I'm not sure.
I didn't see any, and I didn't see anywhere they got robbed.
I also don't like talking about referees because you can watch a match and both sets of fans think the referee has robbed them.
Exactly.
So
Let's talk about the Villa Spurs game. Villa through to the next round. Very good goals scored there, but again, Spurs struggling as a result of their injury woes.
Yeah, look, I felt sorry for them, especially when they considered that first goal under 1 minute. And you ask yourself, where was the defending? Where was the midfielders?
Yeah.
Is Bissouma also injured? Is Sarr injured?
You don't even know nowadays.
I don't even know what is happening because that was so bad a goal to concede. Villa picks the ball in their half and 1, 2, 3 passes, and there's a huge gap to Morgan Rogers, who picks the ball, and then he's running at everybody.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
That's literally his specialty.
Exactly.
Running through the middle of the park in
and
transition.
you ask yourself, what was the planning like? How did they plan for Villa?
Yeah.
You see, nowadays football has evolved, and to the best of my knowledge, you see, apart from the tactical movement that goes into planning for against opponents, players are sat down and told the strengths and weaknesses of a set of individual players in the team, especially those game changers. You want to have a clear notebook on them, clear content of them, and how to come back or nullify their strength. But from what I saw of Spurs this afternoon, look, it was absolutely shambolic. Look at the second goal that they even considered. What was Porro doing? Porro. Which country does he play for? Spain?
Yeah. That's I think it's the problem you've had with
he's
Porro.
Never going to get in the Spanish team.
There are days when he just doesn't show up defensively. Like,
no, but how do you clear a ball like that? And you just left it there for whoever to come and slap it in in your face like that. Look, they have to, like Soso said, which I agree with, maybe there are 4 other teams that are so bad in this league. But from the way Spurs are going, look, if the bottom clubs were very competitive,
they would have been in danger of being relegated.
Drawn into this.
True.
They would have been drawn into this because it's like when you play against them, you are guaranteed that you score 2 goals.
You score 1 or 2.
No, it's 2 goals.
Oh, 2,
so for them,
they're really loose.
Like, 2-2.
I see teams really create like a glut of chances.
Exactly.
And
look, this game, they should have been walloped.
It's mostly poor finishing that saves them face.
So if you are guaranteeing 2 goals to your opponent, it means that 3 or more goals will have to win you games, and that cannot be the case.
And they are struggling to even score right now.
They're struggling to even score. I mean, their main man has had his worst season ever. Song,
Yeah, I think he's past it.
Yeah, not past it. I think he's checked out of the current setup.
I think,
if you put Song in another team, how old is he? 31,
he's like 31,
32, 33.
No, but 32, 33. I think. Look, he's one player who takes very good care
of
himself.
When I see Son do a full, like field sprint, nothing shows
me
that
he's past it. It is the setup that is so bad. And the lack of responsibility.
But he just signed a new deal too.
No, he hasn't. I think what they have done was to trigger his 1 year extension. This would have been his last year, so they've triggered the extension to get something small for him. I think he should be looking to move out of that place.
Thoughts on him? Thoughts on Spurs and their struggles?
I mean, injuries never help. They always make your job more difficult. But like I've said, I don't think Ange Postecoglou has done himself any favors. I think from what we've seen with this FA Cup exit, I think it's a good time to let him go, in my opinion. Because you can get a new coach in, start building something new, and start looking towards next season and thinking about what you can do in the Europa League. Look, I saw this graphic about how, and the injuries I'll say are his fault. I'll go as far as to say that because I saw a graphic about how out of possession and in possession, his teams are the teams that sprint the most.
Yeah, man.
So if your teams are running the most, and your players are always getting injured, it comes back to the coach.
It is because of the way he plays his football. It's all attack or defend. There are times where you have to segregate.
When you are dispossessed and the ball is played in behind you, you have a long way to make up.
And there are times you have to segregate the movement of the players.
And Liverpool are
you demarcate
Liverpool are a good example. They are very aggressive off the ball.
Exactly.
To sprint away. And when they win it, they calm down.
They calm it down.
So you are not going through too much muscle. And how many muscle injuries have Liverpool suffered this season?
Very little.
And that's exactly the point, that coaches do play a part in injuries. Injuries there's a percentage of it that's luck, but a lot of it can go back to injuries. Yeah. In fact, Aston Villa, another example of a team that gets a lot of injuries, and it's partly due to the way they play, that they run a lot. You can't escape it.
In Spurs, they say even on the training ground, he insists on that fast playing style.
A certain level of intensity.
A certain level of intensity. You cannot do that. If you're asking the guys to go at it, bam, 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 90 minutes. No. At times, that's what some of it, I loved Michael Essien doing his playing days. There were times, yes, who go at it for 10, 20, 25 minutes. Then he just picks it up. And then he takes the steam out of everybody. Yeah. Calm it down, take a bit of breath, and then we recycle our energy. And then we go again. But under Postecoglou, it's all about high octane. How can you be octane throughout your life?
Look, the centre-backs have so much responsibility because the full-backs move almost into the number 10 position. So it's like they're two centre-backs. Yep. Why do you think Mickey van der Ven has had 3 or 4 muscle injuries in the 2 years since he joined? Romero didn't used to get injured like this.
At all. He was just injury free. Somebody called him injury prone, and I was when did he become injury prone?
Romero, if you are running and you are bent, your muscles are going at. Look. So I think honestly, if Spurs even want to protect the investments of their players,
I think they need to let
him go. And look, right now that they are no longer in the FA Cup, they didn't get to the Carabao Cup final. You have enough time to bring in a new coach before the Europa League knockout stage starts and start planning for next season. Because I don't expect him to be here next season. I mean, I've written about it. Yeah. You can check it out on Citi Sports Online. But look, I think he's just. I wouldn't even say he's not good enough. I just feel like
he's good, but he's still stubborn. You see, there are times where you need to look at what you've got.
The system works when everybody is healthy.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. I didn't want to say he's not good enough because we've seen them have some very impressive results and impressive performances. But I think he is just not flexible enough, and he's not thinking about player welfare enough. Those two things should disqualify him because the truth is, if you're a football owner, the biggest investment is not the coach, it's the players.
Yep.
These are, and if you think about it as a business, these are multi-million pound assets that he's destroying with the way he's playing football. Because if Mickey van der Ven tears his hamstring 3 times in a row, which club is going to want to buy him? Because his main attribute is his pace. If you keep tearing your hamstring or whatever, your pace is gone.
True.
So these are investments he's destroying. If you had a transport company and every day your drivers are crashing, won't you sack their drivers? It's very simple. So I think, look, and when his football works, it's amazing. It's 10 out of 10. It's great to watch.
But for
the course of a season, I don't see it.
It's not sustainable.
I don't see it. So I think Spurs should make the difficult decision. But I think the board haven't helped themselves because they should have laid down the law in telling that, look, the players are getting injured. What are you doing about it? The medical staff, I think some things have gone wrong at the club in addition to what Ange is doing.
The knives are out for Mr. Postecoglou. Mr. I always win a trophy in my second season.
The Europa League is there.
Well, he might not live to see it happen. So at this point, hopefully he can see out his time in the Europa League and probably get that to happen. But we never know. Let's take another break here on the show. When we come back, we'll head to the Spanish La Liga. We'll have some highlights from you from there. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let's get to Spain. We have a Madrid derby to show you. Ended 1-1. Atletico Madrid getting in first, and then Real Madrid having to come back. In the end, they split the points. It's a very tight race at the top of the La Liga table, and this was one installation of it. Let's get the highlights. So the team splitting points, coach.
Yeah, so I watched the game, but truth be told, I didn't enjoy it because too many fouls. So you hardly...
The game wasn't flowing.
It wasn't flowing at all. And at some point, I was asking myself, this obviously cannot be a spectacle of the Spanish La Liga. Because if you want to see the top two, because going to this game, were the top two teams in the league.
Maybe
so
Diego Simeone meant it to be like this.
Of course. He's, in fact, that was my only conclusion. That he knows that if you were to make it...
Because Atletico haven't played like this. They've been playing really
very
fluid
beautiful,
football
but against a very good team, technically gifted. He knows that in terms of technical ability, the Real Madrid team has got better players than his.
And a lot of pace.
And a lot of pace. His players are more of the pragmatic type. So in order to not for the game to flow, he decided that, look, if you come, try and make sure that are stoppages every now and then. And that was exactly what they did. But I was a bit disappointed by the penalty. I still don't think that should have been awarded a penalty to Atletico Madrid, because you ask yourself, the player who was stepped on, by the time they stepped on him, the ball had already gone past him. He was not, if he had controlled the ball, or if he had touched the ball in his his path, and then he was stepped on, that is where you can award the penalty. But he missed the ball. He and the Real Madrid defender both missed the ball, and then he got stepped on. How is that a penalty? I just don't understand that. But that is what normally happens in Spain. But credit must be given to Real Madrid, because they came back firing all cylinders. You realize that in that first half, they were very poor. And Ancelotti would have shown them his true colors. He's a very calm manager, but if you read about him in the dressing room, when he's animated, nobody stands in his way, and he's got the authority. So when they came back in that second half, you could clearly see the intent with which they came back. And truth be told, on the face of what we saw in that second half,
won that game.
They should have won it. But for those of us who support Barcelona too, we're happy they drew, because Barcelona will meet the two of them, and Real will come and collect the second Ayoko in the season at the old new camp. The new camp is almost ready. So when that one ready to, but we had Barcelona will go to
the
Atletico.
The Olympic Stadium.
Won the first leg in Barcelona. So you see, the Spanish La Liga now is experiencing proper competition. And that is good for
It's 50 points, 49, 48. Real Madrid, Atleti,
Barcelona.
Good competition. Good competition. Let's get to some Serie A highlights. Empoli were up against AC Milan. It was Rafael Leao up to his heroics again for AC Milan. Let's get the highlights. Yes, so AC Milan winning. AC Milan got a new Mexican striker, and he's on target already. Yeah,
and he assisted in the Coppa Italia during the week. He didn't start the game, neither did Rafael Leao. I think the coach was trying to think about the final game on Tuesday. Because remember, some teams have Champions League games, so
on Tuesday.
They are being pragmatic. So they didn't start with the full 11. They got a red card. They were lucky Empoli also got a red card, and the quality of their players told. I mean, things are looking decent. They are getting closer to the top 4, top 5. They need to put some wins together and catch up with Lazio. So I think that's the goal right now. For them to aim for top 5. I think it's very achievable, but they had a very poor start in the league. So if they don't make it, I think it's more on the start than the finish. But the players are in decent form. The attacking players are playing well. But I think there's a lot of instability at the back. You saw Tomori get sent off. The centre-back partnership keeps on changing. That's never a good sign. So I'm not too happy with the management. I think they've mismanaged the team.
Turmoil at the club.
Because you don't buy Morata in the summer.
They've sold players they shouldn't have sold.
Managerial turmoil, transfer turmoil.
I don't even think selling the players is the problem. It's the players you buy to replace. Because I think they're in a position where they can't compete with the best teams. But is there
no money?
Well, you know, the Italian teams don't have as much money. But my problem is the way they are buying players, because you say you need a right back, you go and buy Emerson Royale. Then
6 months down the line.
6 months down the line, you want to get rid of him. If not for his injury, you sell him to Galatasaray. You buy a striker, Alvaro Morata. 6 months down the line, he's gone. That's horrible planning. Jovic is just in limbo. It's horrible planning. So for me, I'm very disappointed with the planning of the team. And the guys in charge, they've made a lot of mistakes.
After winning a title, you'd think that you tidy up your
The ownership changed after the title win. It was owned by a hedge fund, Elliott Management, who inherited the team because the guy who was meant to buy the team had taken a loan from them, wasn't able to pay the loan. So Elliott takes over the team. They get into the thing, they win a title. So they've now raised the value. This is what they want. So they can sell it for profit. So they sell it to Redbird Investments. They are now coming to do their whole thing. So they kind of change things up.
Wait, Redbird are the Liverpool people?
No, I think it's a different one. I think that's Fenway Sports.
But these are also Americans?
Yes, Jerry Card now. So he also, I think the problem is he decided to change the whole management. So he sacked Maldini, brought in Ibrahimovic, changing the backroom staff that won the title.
Maldini? And some people, because you don't know how they think. How do you sack such a person?
Because Maldini was not happy with the transfer.
Yeah,
because he basically said that we need to spend more money, that Milan's ceiling is not being reached. That it's nice we've won the title, but you should be competing in Europe, so you need to spend money.
You need to get back to the Champions League.
And they weren't ready to spend money because you have to winning is not everything. If the club is making a steady profit, finishing top 4, they are okay. They are thinking about, okay, we want to build a new stadium. How much would that cost? All of those things. So,
AC Milan, I don't know, man. It's hard to see them like this. Because the AC Milan I grew up watching.
And imagine me as a fan.
I can imagine. No, I get how you feel most of the time because
Filippo Inzaghi, Andrei Shevchenko, General Gattuso, Ambrosini.
Shevchenko was such a boy. He was just my guy.
Kaká.
You know?
I want to say something before we leave, please. Today is Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh.
And Ghana's team, if you know how it works.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, the NFL has said Ghana's team is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
They are playing the Super Bowl. So I encourage everyone watching to support Ghana's team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
And to be honest, they've done some really good developmental work down here.
Yeah.
They've been doing clinics. They've been doing viewing parties. They've been very active down here.
And when they did the NFL launch, they brought some of their staff, members of the management.
Did they bring the
cheerleaders even came, all of that. So, I mean, we did some interviews. They are old interviews, but you can still watch them where they talk about what their plans for Ghana and stuff.
Did they bring the Lombardi sometime ago?
You know, it was there. Yeah, they brought everything. The proper launch that they did at the conference center. So, yeah.
That's mad. That's cool.
No, it was at Kempinski, sorry.
We wish them all the best.
Yeah,
so, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Unfortunately, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but Ghana's team is playing. So, I'll support Kansas City and you guys will support.
What's the meaning of this? Anyway, let me read a few messages just before we go because they're really coming. This one here, it says, his name is Abonkele from Lungwa. Come on, man. It says, Chelsea has now become a mediocre entity where losing has become normal. No wonder my friends call me Abonkele. Yeah, you deserve it. This one here says, Nimli is a truthful analyst. Great tactical breakdown. Channel 1 TV making my Sunday evenings great as a bachelor. Chelsea will kill me. Oh. Good work, boss Ketia and the team. Married, this one says, hi Ben, I'm enjoying the show. Ask coach if Tchouameni's foul is a penalty. Well, he addressed it. Referees in Spain must be serious. Los Blancos will surely take the lead. Hashtag Hala Madrid. Thank you very much, Coach. Namely, thank you very much to Sugraham. Thank you very much out there to those of you who tuned in to watch the show from all over the continent. To those of you who sent us messages, we appreciate it. Same time next week, Scorecard will be back on your screens.